Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. The national conversation continues to be how to keep our children safe from gun violence. Everyone acknowledges that this is a crisis. So for the president, for the Republican Party, for the NRA, every option is on the table except fewer guns. Where do we start? Let's start yesterday. Yesterday, President Trump held a listening session with traumatized students, teachers, and parents at the White House. That's a good place to start. But it was clearly a test of Trump's ability to listen, because he brought along a cheat sheet that included, "I hear you." I mean, people have cheat sheets, but it is a little unsettling that the president needs a cheat sheet for reacting to other people's emotions. I can imagine the notes he used when he left his wives. "Hello, wife's name. It's over. You were a 9 and now you're a high 7. Thank you, and I hear you, but I don't want to see you." Well, we here at The Late Show got the actual list. Here it is, right here. It looks much larger when he's holding it. There you go. Now, the reason we could see these questions in that photograph is because he was looking at the other side, which says, "Do this." He did his best. But listening is not enough. Trump knows you have to take action, and he's got a lot of ideas.
And there are a lot of different ideas. I could name 10 of them right now. Does anybody have an idea as to how to stop it? What is your recommendation to stop it?
Oh, he could name 10 solutions. But you know Trump, he doesn't want to hog the spotlight. "I could name 10 and it would be fixed, but you go first and I'll tell you how many of mine you guessed, okay?" "Okay, that's one. Okay, that's one of them. No, that's not one of them. The NRA won't let me do that one, but I hear you. I hear you." Donald Trump actually does have a suggestion to deal with the number of guns. He wants more of them.
A teacher would have a concealed gun on them. If you had a teacher who was adept at firearms, they could very well end the attack very quickly. I think it could very well solve your problem.
Yes, just arm the teachers. I'm sure it's in the school budget. Sorry your school can't afford enough copies of To Kill a Mockingbird, but good news, we're giving you something that can kill any bird. Now. Story of hope.
It's a big story of hope. Yeah.
Now, Trump's got his idea of arming the teachers did not go over great with law enforcement or teachers or people who are children. So, this morning he took to Twitter to clarify his position and double down. "I never said give teachers guns. What I said was to look at the possibility of giving concealed guns to gun-adept teachers with military or special training experience, only the best." Yes, Trump never said to give guns to teachers willy-nilly. I mean, can you imagine what this country would be like if anyone could get a gun? Now, that was actually hard to read. Trump tweeted on, "If a potential sicko shooter knows that a school has a large number of very weapons-talented teachers and others who will be instantly shooting, the sicko will never attack that school. Cowards won't go there. Problem solved." Yeah, that's what sickos are known for. Logical reasoning. And what does he mean? What exactly does he mean by weapons talented? That's not really a phrase I want to associate with teachers. Boy, Jim, you sure are handy with guns. Have you thought about working with children? He finished, "Must be offensive. Defense alone won't work." Oh, sir, I think your suggestion is offensive enough. And this afternoon... expensive. It's very nice. And this afternoon, Trump met with state and local officials to talk about school safety, where he tripled down on the idea of arming teachers.
Frankly, you have teachers that are Marines for 20 years and they retire, they become a teacher, and they're Army, Navy, Air Force, they're Coast Guard, they're people that have won shooting contests, and, you know, they're for whatever.
If there's one thing that reassures you as a parent about the safety of your child, is when the president says, whatever. So, or whatever. Haven't given it much thought, really. So he says, shooting contests or contests for whatever. I saw a guy at the carnival with a big mallet doing the bangy thing. That little biscuit went way up the pole. Maybe he could knock the bad guy over the head. Problem solved. Everybody gets a stuffed animal. I hear you. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump has one specific guy in mind for the job.
I'm watching John Kelly, General John Kelly. So he's a 4-star Marine. He's a tough cookie. If he was a teacher of mine, I wouldn't mind having him have a gun, because they know General Kelly is the history teacher. He's teaching about how we win wars, okay? And he's got a concealed weapon, but they're gonna know he's got a concealed, because we tell them that the bullets are gonna be flying in the other direction.
So parents, you can relax. Bullets won't be flying in one direction. Now bullets will be flying in all directions. But he's a businessman. Trump is a businessman. He knows you only get what you pay for.
And what I'd recommend doing is the people that do carry, we give them a bonus. We give them a little bit of a bonus.
Oh, I'm sure that's in the school budget, too. Sorry, kids, we had to cut the music program, but you can still watch Mr. Hutchinson polish his Glock in the darkened band room. And, he can play that thing. He can play that thing.
Wow,
Yeah.
he can play it, huh?
He can play that Glock,
He can play that Glock.
And again, these tragedies can never be blamed on the 310 million guns in America. They always have to be blamed on something else, like the sad fact that too many of our schools are not built to withstand the zombie apocalypse.
We have to harden our schools, not soften them up. A gun-free zone to a killer or somebody that wants to be a killer, that's like going in for the ice cream. That's like, here I am, take me.
Does Donald Trump imagine ice cream saying that to him when he eats it? Donald, I'm here, take me. Put me in your weird little mouth. Now, obviously, all of this sounds pretty grim. But don't worry, Donald Trump has a message of hope.
I think we need hardened sights. We need to let people know, you come into our schools, you're gonna be dead.
Sure. Sure. There you go. Yeah, why not? Especially once you arm the teachers and you rig one of the janitors to explode on contact. Which one? You'll never know. And neither will he. Keeps everybody on their toes. Or maybe change the mascot to Gunny the gun-toting gun. There's a happy image of America's future. And Trump wasn't the only one listening to victims of gun violence last night. CNN hosted a town hall on the aftermath of the Florida shooting. It included some of the most outspoken survivors and parents, but the real star of the show was Florida senator and man who just received his cash from the NRA, Marco Rubio. Now, the crowd wasn't exactly with Marco Rubio last night, and you know what they say, if they're not with you, you're Marco Rubio. Here he is trying to explain what he sees as the perils of banning semi-automatic weapons.
On the issue that you've raised about the background checks, relate directly to what you said about the assault weapons ban. It's not the loopholes, it's the problem that once you start looking at how easy it is to get around it, you would literally have to ban every semi-automatic rifle that's sold in America. Fair enough.
That is a guy who cannot read the room. Now look, we'd have to get rid of guns, and then it's a slippery slope to fewer dead people. Oh, you'd like that? Fair enough. I guess it takes all kinds. Now, a lot of people are giving Rubio credit for even being at this town hall.
It was brave of Rubio to show up.
Credit to Rubio for showing up last night.
I actually commend Senator Rubio for going.
Hats off to him for showing up.
Okay, here's the thing. Just showing up isn't that impressive. He works for those people. If your boss calls you into their office, you can't say, yes, I hit a customer, yes, I turned the break room into a sex dungeon, and yes, I'm currently very high. But I showed up even though I knew you'd be mad. I should get some credit for that. Do you want to get high? The highlight, they do. They get high. We want it. I know the feeling. Fight it. Fight it. The highlight of the evening was when Rubio came face to face with Cameron Kasky, one of the teenagers who survived the Parkland shooting, and Cameron had a simple but particularly pointed question for the senator.
Senator Rubio, can you tell me right now that you will not accept a single donation from the NRA in the future?
Oh, that is going to leave a Marco. Oh, maybe a skid Marco. But Rubio had an answer to the idea that the NRA paid him to follow their agenda.
More NRA money? More NRA money?
That is the wrong way to look. First of all, the answer is people buy into my agenda. The answer to the question is that people buy into my agenda. You can ask that question, and I can tell you that people buy into my agenda.
Yes, people buy into my agenda. I don't ask who or why. I just tell them to leave the money on the dresser. We got a great show for you tonight, everybody.